Step out of the car. The flashlight cut through the windshield like a blade, searing. A white officer leaned into the beam, jaw clenched, voice sharp and measured. License and registration. Hands where I can see them. It was 8:46 p.m. inside Stone Ridge Estates, a gated stretch of sculpted hedges and private cul-de-sacs just north of Atlanta. Quiet. Wealthy. Supposedly safe. Dry as coal. Das sat still, both hands on the wheel, hoodie zipped to the collarbone, breathing even. He didn't blink. He knew this script, but this wasn't an ordinary traffic stop. This was his street, the street stamped with his signature on the development contract, raised from forest to dream by his company. Before we go further, a question. Have you ever been told you don't belong somewhere you built? Drop your city below if you believe in dignity without titles, in respect without proof. Like and subscribe. These stories are only the beginning. Now, back to Das. A second patrol car slid up fast, light spinning. Another officer climbed out, younger, hand resting near his holster. This guy doesn't match any resident file. The first one muttered into his radio. Could be a stolen vehicle. Das's Range Rover was parked just blocks from his home. No taillight broken, no plates expired, just a black man behind tinted glass. Apparently that was enough. A voice from the sidewalk cut in, soft, hesitant. Hey, I think that's Mr. Cole, a young black neighbor. Phone held low, camera light on. He knew, but the officers didn't hear, or didn't care. We're going to need you to exit the vehicle now. The senior stepped closer, flashlight still aimed at Das's face. Sir, don't make this harder than it has to be. Das breathed slow, spoke low, precise. I'm not refusing, but I want this on record. Every word. The air around the cul-de-sac shifted, not loud, not chaotic, charged, like the moment before a verdict, because they had no idea who they had stopped. Not yet. The second officer circled wide, eyes scanning like Das was a threat on trimmed grass. Pop the trunk, he barked. Das didn't move. Do you have probable cause? He asked, still seated, still composed. Routine safety check. The senior snapped. Don't get smart. Porch lights clicked on across the street, then another, not concern for Das, concern for what they assumed he might do. A whisper floated across the silence. A woman in yoga pants holding her dog's leash. I've never seen him around here. 6 words like gasoline over fire. Das blinked once. He had lived in this neighborhood for 6 years, signed every zoning permit, cut every contractor check. His name was on the title deed of her street. The officer tried the passenger door. Locked. Das tapped his Apple Watch. Far downtown, a silent green light blinked. A female voice crackled through his car speaker. Mr. Cole, is everything all right? Not yet, Das replied. Eyes forward. Begin Protocol 9. Notify the chief. Stand by live line. The younger officer flinched. Who are you talking to? Das turned slightly. Someone with more jurisdiction than you. From behind a hedge, the neighbor stepped forward, timid but louder. Hey, that's Das Cole. He owns half the homes here. The flashlight wavered for a second. The senior doubled down. Sir, step out now. If you refuse again, we'll consider obstruction. Das inhaled deep, voice steady, never raised. I built this neighborhood, and you're about to lose your badge over a broken assumption. The sidewalk neighbor whispered to his girlfriend. He's not bluffing. Google Cole Development Group. Skyscrapers, stadiums, whole city blocks, one name at the top. Das Cole. But tonight, the name was still a question mark to the men who judged his skin before his legacy. You don't look like you live here, the officer muttered. Das smiled, not with humor, but recognition. He'd heard that line before, at 26, outside his first property deal, at 31, leaving a board meeting in a hoodie, now at 42, in front of his own driveway. What they didn't realize, this wasn't a routine stop, it was a case, and the verdict was coming. The officer reached inside the cracked window, yanked Das's registration from the dash, tore the corner clean through the barcode. Sir, Das's tone dropped an octave, steel in every syllable. You just tampered with evidence. A civil document. Flashlight lowered slightly, older officer silent, camera still rolling from the sidewalk, livestream climbing past 700 viewers. You'll better stop, a neighbor called. This is going viral. Then the radio crackled. Unit 7, confirm location. We've received an escalation request from the mayor's office. Both officers froze. The senior tapped his shoulder. MIC, trying to sound even. Standby, just checking ID. But Das had already stepped out, slow. Calm. No sudden moves. He stood beside the SUV, posture straight, chin lifted. For the first time tonight, the badge didn't look like the highest authority present. From his Apple Watch came a clear amplified voice. Mr. Cole. The chief is on the secured line. Put him through, Das said. Across the street, more neighbors stepped onto porches. He's on the phone with the police chief. Someone whispered, that's his company, another said. He built this whole subdivision. The senior officer's face paled, but his voice stayed sharp. Sir, remain quiet while we conduct checks. Das tilted his head. You've conducted enough. You've profiled. You've assumed. You've violated. And now you're about to face every layer of oversight you didn't know existed. The watch spoke again. Louder. This is Chief Whitmore. Mr. Cole, we are reviewing the footage live. Are you safe? The younger officer's hand dropped from his holster. I'm safe, Das answered. Calm, cold. But they're not. From the sidewalk, the young man whispered to his stream. He didn't yell. He didn't resist. He just flipped the whole game by standing still. And for the first time since the red and blue lights lit the street, the weight of power began to shift. Because now it wasn't about compliance, it was about consequence. The air was no longer still, it was dense, heavy, aware. Das stood beside his vehicle, no threat, no movement, yet commanding every inch of silence. The streetlights hummed faintly, the night caught between judgment and awakening. The voice from the watch returned, firm and official. Mr. Cole, a supervisor is en route, 6 minutes out, both body cams under review. So far, not impressive. The senior officer shifted, finally realizing who he had cornered. You should have said something earlier, he muttered. Das turned slow, voice like cut glass. I shouldn't have to. 5 words, but they landed louder than a siren. The younger one stammered. Sir, we didn't know who you were. Das replied without blinking. You acted exactly like you did. On the sidewalk, the stream viewer count climbed past 2,000. Comments flooded in. He owns the block. He's calm as stone. This is wild. Somebody tagged the mayor. More porch lights flicked on. A woman in silk pajamas stepped out, eyes wide. Das, what's going on? Her husband whispered back. They thought he didn't belong. She said louder. He built this place. Curiosity melted into anger. The crowd thickened, quiet but furious. The senior officer cleared his throat, tone softening. Sir, if there's been a misunderstanding. Das cut him off. No misunderstanding. You made it clear when you reached for my documents without cause. Then a low growl of tires, a black SUV rolled up. No sirens. No rush. Door opened. A tall black man stepped out, silver badge flashing beneath the street lamp. Chief Whitmore, and he wasn't smiling. He walked straight to Das, hand extended. Mr. Cole, Chief. The handshake spoke louder than any apology. Then the chief turned toward his officers, eyes burning. Did you know who this man was before you stop him? Silence. We didn't think. You didn't have to think. The chief cut in. You had to follow protocol. You failed. And just like that, the street shifted. Not from fear, but from truth. Power didn't arrive tonight with flashing lights. It arrived in a hoodie, behind the wheel of excellence. The chief didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. Authority dripped from his presence alone. The senior officer straightened, clinging to scraps of dignity. Sir, we were just following an instinct. Based on what? The chief asked. The car. The hoodie. Or the color of the skin behind the wheel. The silence screamed louder than any confession. Das didn't gloat. He simply crossed his arms, standing beside the chief like a mirror of composure. I want this encounter documented. Every frame, every log, every radio call, and on the mayor's desk by morning. Yes, sir, the chief replied. Because this wasn't a favor, it was a reckoning. From the hedge, the young neighbor finally stepped forward. I live here too, and if this is how they treat him, what chance do the rest of us have? A Latina mother nodded. An Indian couple whispered on their balcony. A retired teacher lifted her chin. Das turned to them. You all saw what happened, not because I shouted, but because I refused to shrink. He faced the 2 officers again. You profiled the wrong man, and more importantly, the wrong man refused to stay silent. The chief's tone hardened. Remove yourselves. Leave your body cams running. You're under internal review. Effective immediately. Their faces broke. But chief. Badge off. Gun holstered. Leave now. The older officer unbuckled his belt. The younger stared at the asphalt. They walked back to the cruiser with the weight of consequence on their backs. Someone whispered, that's what justice looks like. Das exhaled slow. The kind of breath that closes one chapter and opens another. I'm not filing a complaint, he said. Not tonight. The chief frowned. Then when? Tomorrow, because tomorrow, I'm calling the mayor and we are rewriting your department's playbook. For too long, men like me were taught to survive moments like this. Tonight, we reset the standard. The lights dimmed as the cruisers pulled away, but tension lingered like fog. Neighbors clustered quietly, not fearful now, but listening. A young woman stepped forward, navy headwrap tied around her braids, phone clutched like armor. Mr. Cole. I don't know if you remember me. I'm Jamila. Birchwood Street. Of course, Das nodded. The photographer. Her voice trembled. They treated me the same way last month. I came home from a shoot. Same flashlights. Same questions. They asked whose house I cleaned, told me I didn't fit the profile. Her words cracked. I didn't say anything. I just went inside, but seeing you tonight, I realized I'm not crazy. I'm not alone. Das stepped closer, voice gentle but grounded. You weren't silent. You were surviving, but now, we speak together. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A retired teacher lifted her hand. They've followed me 3 times walking my dog. They say it's for my safety, but I know what they're watching. A Nigerian father rested his hand on his son's shoulder. They ask him for ID once. He's 14. Whispers turn to nods, nods to anger, not chaos, but clarity. Because injustice doesn't live in sirens, it hides in patterns until someone breaks the silence. Chief Whitmore stood with arms crossed, listening, not defensive, but absorbing. This isn't about one stop, Das said. It's about who's presumed guilty by default. No more whispering in driveways, no more walking faster when the lights flash. Tonight, the street didn't just witness power, it reclaimed it. A woman whispered to her husband. He didn't yell, no. He reminded them who built this block. And somewhere in the crowd, a teenage girl whispered to her phone, this should be in history books. But this wasn't history. It was happening live. Headlights flared again. A news van this time, Channel 9, brakes screeching. A reporter jumped out. MIC live, lip gloss shining. We are here in Stone Ridge Estates where sources confirm billionaire developer Das Cole was wrongfully profiled during a traffic stop. Mr. Cole, would you like to make a statement? He didn't hesitate, didn't rehearse. He faced the camera like a mirror. I wasn't mistaken for a suspect, he said. I was assumed to be one, not because I broke a law, not because I posed a threat, but because I matched a story written without me. I built this neighborhood, and tonight, I was treated like an intruder in my own legacy. He paused, letting silence carry the weight. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't resist. But I refused to let bias walk away unchallenged. This isn't just for me, it's for Jamila, for every father questioned, every teen stopped, every silent fear swallowed just to get home. And for the record, I didn't call the police tonight. They called me. Gasps, applause, then a new voice trembled from the edge of the crowd. Work that badge. Every head turned. A young black woman stepped forward, hoodie half unzipped, precinct patch visible. I handle dispatch operations, she said softly. I route calls, tag incidents, verify stop codes. Her voice quivered, but her truth didn't. There's a quiet label they use sometimes, not official. Not written. Just habit, code 33. Suspicious male, black. The air cracked open. Chief Whitmore's jaw tightened. Name and timestamp the last entry, he said. We'll pull every record since last quarter. No denial, just reckoning. And suddenly, the shift began. Not chaos, but clarity, a system exposing itself in real time. It took one man who refused to shrink and one woman who refused to stay silent. The crowd didn't cheer, they breathed, as if exhaling decades. Das stepped forward again. No camera, no entourage, just a man reclaiming space that tried to erase him. Tonight isn't about me, he said. It's about the list we never wrote but lived under. Suspicious black man. Doesn't fit neighborhood. You think it's a label, but it's erosion of belonging, safety, trust. He turned to the chief. Now that we've heard it aloud, we are changing it. The chief nodded. We'll convene oversight in the morning. No, Das said firmly. You'll convene here, on this block. Gasps. Applause. Momentum. I'm launching a community initiative starting tonight. The same street that called me a suspect will become the test site for reform. We'll fund third-party audits on every traffic stop in this district. Bias training won't just be ticked, it'll be tested, and dispatchers like her won't risk jobs to tell the truth. A white woman near the edge raised her trembling hand. My son's black, she said. He's adopted. 12. I always wondered if it could happen to him. Now I know. Thank you for not staying quiet. Das walked over. No one should have to wonder, he said. Starting tonight, we do it differently. The crowd rippled. A low hum of claps, then unity, because justice tonight wasn't reactive, it was structural, not punishment, blueprint. Das Cole, billionaire, builder, neighbor, wasn't rewriting the narrative, he was redrawing the map. The chief's phone rang again. He turned, listened, then looked back. Mayor wants to speak with you. Das took the call, voice steady. Yes. I'm safe, but your officers aren't. Not anymore. No anger. Just truth. This wasn't a rogue mistake, it was a pattern failure, and if I hadn't worn a watch linked to a network, I'd be another hashtag, posted too late, silence on the line. Then the mayor asked, what do you need from us? Das looked around at his neighbors, witnesses, allies, proof. I don't want a press release, he said. I want infrastructure. He tapped his watch, switched to speaker. Starting this month, my company funds a pilot system. We call it Bias Alert. Gasps. Phones raised again. It logs civilian complaints in real time, no filters. No chain of excuses, flagged, Timestamped, reviewed by a citizen board. He faced Chief Whitmore. You'll assign a liaison who answers to this block, not just City Hall. Someone asked, how will it work? Das smiled. Calm but certain, you report. You upload. The system maps every incident. If patterns appear, so do consequences. No more invisibility. Bias doesn't vanish, but now it gets flagged.